Okay, we've reached step 4 of the process and we're ready to submit our electronic returns to HMRC. Now, before we can do this, we need to ensure that we are set up with the right information in System Control. So go to System Control, Company Details, and then select the Media tab. And you can see down here we have the username and password details, which will match those that you received in the email from HMRC with your details, and also here that we have selected the XML option. Once this is all set up, we are good to go, and we can go back to period end and select year end and ensure the P35 option is selected, and then you'll be able to click on these two icons here. So we click on the left hand one, XML, and this will change the screen to say produced end of year return here. Now what we need to do is we need to click on the drill down arrow by P35 checklist. Two main points here. We must tick this box over here to say that the P14s are all going to be enclosed. If we don't do that, we cannot continue. The other box that is of major interest is submit as test. If we click this box here, we can also see we get a test value appear here. This will do a submission to HMRC to check that everything is working correctly, but isn't actually a live submission. If we go ahead now and we click the green tick, it generates the XML message, and then we can see the response from HMRC. I'm using a demo data file with fictitious usernames and passwords in System Control, so it's of little surprise that I got an authentication failure. You will be able to see here the results of your submission test. When that has completed successfully, you can then remove this tick and run a live submission. If you have printed a P38 return, you should also do a P38 submission. Now, the next thing that we should look at is scheduling your return. It is possible by clicking this icon here to schedule a return to occur. So we now go back to our P35 checklist and click the tick, and this time it will open this window here where we're able to specify that we would like to schedule the return to occur at some future point in time. You can see here this is the name of the XML file it's going to generate, and we click process, and then that submits it to the scheduler. Now, Access Payroll does not have to be running for the scheduled posting to occur. However, the scheduled internet posting application, this window, does need to be running. So if we need to relaunch that at a later date, we can go to Records, HMRC Communications, and then we can say Launch Scheduled Poster. And that will relaunch this application, which we can then leave running overnight to make our submission for us at the appropriate time. And that brings us to the end of the electronic submission section, and I pass you back to Lara.
We are now at the last step. We are ready to start the new tax year. So, without further ado, 2012, here we come. Since publishing, it has come to light that the Access Accounts notes are wrong in relation to the Emergency Tax Code for 2012. It should be 810L rather than 801L. There is also a service pack and hotfix which support have sent you an email about, which you need to download. It is important that you install these prior to running off your P60s.
Okay, we have reached the final step of the year-end checklist procedure, and we are ready to start the new tax year. Before we go any further, we need to take another backup. This is important because it will enable us to rerun the year-end reports and reprint them again, should we be required to do so. So take a backup and give it a name, something like Tax Year End 2011-12 Year End. So once all that's done, we can now go to Period End and select Year End, and then Start New Tax Year, and click the green tick. This will ask us to ensure that we have printed all the statutory returns and updated the nominal. We can click yes to this. If we hadn't have run the reports, we'd have got a warning message at that point telling us that we couldn't start the new tax year until the statutory return had actually been printed to the printer and updated. So we are now being asked if we want to start the new tax year 2012-13. You can say yes. Now, again, it's asking us to ensure that we have that backup that we took earlier, so we can click yes to continue. Now, what you need to say no to this message to delete the statutory tables. You also need to say no to deleting P11D details. And now we get this message that confirms the year end is now complete. Now, it's possible your holiday year end is coterminous with the financial year, and in that case we need to go to Period End and then down to Holiday Year End. Now here we either need to say Reset to Default or Carry Forward Current Entitlement, depending on what your policy is for your company, and then click the tick. And there we're saying, are we sure we want to start a new holiday year? And it's saying that all the current accumulated holiday allowance will be cleared down and a new year's entitlement will be started, and think that everything will be reset. So we can say yes to that. Again, it's telling us that we should have a backup, and then that we want to advance the holiday year start date. Now, at this point, before we go any further, we should take another backup. The next step will be to do a bulk update of the tax codes, so this backup will enable us to return to this point should we need to do so. So this backup we're going to call pre-bulk update, and you're going to store that in your backup folder. So the next step is the bulk update of tax codes. In order to do this, we go to System Control and Tables. Now, first up, it's worth checking that this year's tables are in here and that the information is correct, and it's actually your responsibility to use the right tables and that these are maintained throughout the tax year. Now, to do a bulk update, we simply select bulk update down here. Now, for example, the emergency tax code L, there has been a change, and the difference between the old and the new value is 63. So this will update the emergency code to the new 2012 code 801L. We tick the tick, and it then gives us a report of the people that have been updated. We can then say yes, we want to update all of these employees. We have a backup, and that is 4 employees updated. Now, It's also possible that you want to update employees individually. This can be done by going to Transactions and Run Payroll, and then clicking the tick, and then clicking the tick, and then from the command menu we can select Enter Info, and then we get this message that says that we're going to be changing the tax code or the NI letter. And then in this window here we can submit the new tax code information. That completes the year-end process for updating to the new tax year. And so the first thing you should do before you go any further is take a backup of your data file and entitle this backup for tax year 2012-13 pre-period 1, and then save that in your backup folder. Congratulations, you've completed the year-end procedures, and I'll pass you back to Lara.
And that concludes the Access Payroll year-end procedure. We hope that you found this video easy to follow and the procedure has gone smoothly. Video 5 talks about the HMRC Communications Gateway, so I will see you there.